Welcome to a brand new life, to a brand new day, all the way from the wastelands of California. My name is Michael, and I am a mere figment of your imagination. I look forward to once again serve you those sounds of salvation. First-time listeners out there, turn on, tune in, and drop out. This is a very different kind of show, a place where we don't feel so alone. Let us chase away the light no matter what you at home choose to believe. We do admire you for your curiosity. Joining me tonight is Mr. Billy Ray Valentine. He is the host of The Infinite Fringe. No stranger to the program, he's been here before. Now without further ado, let's jump right on in. Joining me now is Mr. Billy Ray Valentine, the man of the hour. It's been a long time, host and genius behind the scenes. What's going on, Billy Ray?
What's up, buddy? I like it when you call me the man of the hour. That's dope. I like that sort of...
I have no idea why I say that, but it just sounds good.
I know. It sounds cool.
It just sounds good. I don't know why.
I have no idea why you say it either, but I dig it, so thank you.
Yeah, once in a while I'll throw it out there, but of course it's always an honor and pleasure to have you here, Billy Ray. And
thank you, buddy.
I kind of felt like I was announcing a pro wrestler of sorts.
That would go like this. Hailing from the Bronx,
oh, that's
New
true.
York City, the most gorgeous man in podcasting, Billy Ray Valentine. That's how that would work.
And he's MonkeyPox free, by the way.
MonkeyPox free, 100% STD free.
He's clean. He's clean.
My STD test with a 65.
Very good. Very good. Right. He just has, the HIV, but that's another story. No, he's not HIV positive. We're just playing here, folks. Don't get too crazy. And no offense to those that do have HIV out there. We do love you too.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes I wish I had HIV, like Magic Johnson.
It's gone around in the alternative media right now with Curry Mullis and all this other stuff that's going down with the mRNA vaccine and Dr. Fauci's involvement with HIV back in the day.
Back in the day, yeah.
So they're talking about, a lot of people are talking reckless about AIDS and HIV, like it never existed almost, or like it was presented in a way that wasn't accurate back in the day, just to scare people. It scared the shit out of me. I was a little kid, right? But I also unfortunately had people in my life pass away due to this, right? And so I saw it. It was real. At least I thought it was. But in the alternative, it goes around as if, this is one of Dr. Fauci's many get rich quick schemes or something, that went down. And I'm sure he was able to capitalize on it. But I don't know if that negates the actual virus and so many people that died as a result of it. I think, they've gotten some type of medications that have kind of gotten it under control. They haven't cured it yet, but I think they're making strides towards that, and we'd like that very much. But it was an epidemic here in New York City. People were dying left and right in the 80s and the 90s with HIV. And I remember I was scared as hell about it. Well, they did a great job at scaring people for sure.
Yeah. So as everyone knows by now, you grew up out there. You've been on the program before. And for those that don't know, yes, he is from New York. He didn't just move there a couple weeks ago or anything. He's been there for a long time. He knows how it goes out there. He grew up there. And, you don't really hear too much about, growing up and hearing about it and how it must have been kind of strange for you, especially at that young of an age. But you, of course, you were old enough to remember how it went. So you were scared shitless.
I was very much, it was a death sentence. It was portrayed that way. You are gonna die. If you get HIV, and I mean, it wasn't. I don't think they were kidding back in the day. I mean, you see people, and you mentioned Magic Johnson, and that's what kind of changed things, because Magic Johnson got it at the height of everything.
Yeah,
and they were saying, is he going to be able to play in the NBA? And people didn't want to play with him.
They didn't want. Yeah, that was pretty wild at the time. Right. People were scared.
What's up, buddy?
I said people were scared.
Of course. Yeah, and given the atmosphere of the time, they had every right to be. And David Stern backed Magic Johnson on this, and he got back on the court, and it kind of changed perception that it was almost like somebody with HIV. You were afraid to freaking touch him, right? Because it's like, oh, you're gonna die. But Magic got out there and was able to do it. He looked great. He was healthy, and he never died, right? And it got to a point where
he did better.
HIV was undetectable in his bloodstream.
I mean, the guy got even better once he contracted HIV. I mean, his business went through the roof.
Right.
And I don't mean, I'm not. I mean, it is funny. It is kind of a joke, but I mean, in the most positive way. No pun intended, right there. But
right.
He's done great. I mean, it makes you want to contract HIV sometimes.
I mean,
what helps you out?
That was the change, right? The shift in perspective when he got it, right? Because when Freddie Mercury got it, he shriveled up and died.
That was awful, by the way. That was the worst. Seeing those videos of him in his final days, I don't know if you've ever saw that.
I've seen some.
Ooh, It's brutal.
It was tough. But Magic Johnson never made it to that point, and that's when some of the conspiracy started. And people were, well, as long as you got the right amount of dough, right, you'll be okay.
You'll be fine.
But I mean, you could say Freddie Mercury was filthy rich, right?
Yeah, he had a lot of money. Yeah.
Right, and he passed away through it. So Magic was privy to something else at the time. Treatment. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. There were conspiracy theories about HIV that it was created in a lab here in the United States in order to kill African Americans and to kill homosexuals, because it first was looked at as a homosexual disease.
Right.
That's where it started to go around. I think it was New York, San Francisco, and
probably
I forget where.
Probably here in California, yeah.
Yeah, in San Fran for sure. And
no
there were
doubt.
a couple of other hubs that it started going around and where it came from. And I remember Alex Jones talking about how HIV was created in a lab, and there were prominent people at the time, which of course I can't remember who they are. And I do internet checks and I can't find it, but they were saying that HIV was a bioweapon against gays and against black people. Black people contracted HIV, and it was more deadly for them than it was for other ethnic groups.
Sure.
Right. It's just like diabetes, right? It's more prevalent in the Latino community. Or heart disease in the African American community. It goes like that. I'm sure white people have stuff that is more prevalent for them. I just don't know. Maybe you can clue me in, Mike. But that's the way some of these things work, and HIV was that, or is that? I guess.
Some ethnicities out there are definitely susceptible to various diseases.
Yeah.
And illnesses.
And it reminds me of a story that came out a couple of weeks ago, that somebody in Congress, I think, was warning against the use of 23andMe and companies like that that took your DNA because they had developed a bioweapon that could target an individual through their DNA. And kill that individual. So if
absolutely.
Michael Decon and myself were in a room and they wanted to kill me and not Michael Decon, they can do that through having your DNA and designing this bioweapon
through biochemistry.
But not only that, Mike, I'm gonna throw it over to you. Not only that, they came up with a way to wipe out ethnic groups completely now. This, at least according to the Independent and according to the mainstream media. This is what they can do now. Not only can they take out an individual, but they can take out entire ethnic groups based on DNA. And this is what we get for handing over our DNA to companies like 23andMe. Because they just don't throw that out, right? They'll sell that to somebody. They'll store it. They do all types of experiments on it to try to see what makes people think or develop bioweapons to kill you. At least that's what it looks like right now.
It is what it looks like funny. Right now. Yeah, it is pretty crazy. Another website is Ancestry, I think, .com.
Right.
Another place where people go mindlessly and submit their DNA just to find out your origins.
Right.
your ethnic
I want to know if I'm a 3% Scandinavian.
Maybe you might be.
Maybe.
You never know. But I mean, I wouldn't take the risk of actually sending my DNA out there. That sounds kind of crazy.
It does, man. And you know, they give out 23andMe and Ancestry.com package for people during Christmas and for their birthday. They're like, here you go. You know, my family, one section of my family got very upset at me a few years ago because they thought it was important to map out our family tree.
Okay.
And figure out where we came from and all of this stuff. And I'm like, well, we kind of already know. We just don't know everyone, you know? And I'm like, all right, it is what it is. They're like, no, this is important. So they sent us, my family here and other branches of our family, you know, 23andMe for everyone to do. You
just sold all your DNA to a Chinese company, to a Chinese pharmaceutical company.
Right. And I did
Same
not.
with Ancestry.com. They're all owned by Chinese pharmaceuticals.
Jesus. Damn, we don't want that.
No, I mean, that's ridiculous. I was going to say a different word, but maybe not.
Well, it's your show, Mike. Say whatever you want. At the end of the day, I didn't do it. Right. And I didn't allow any of my family members to do it. And they got really upset at me. They're like, you're crazy. Like, maybe I'm crazy, but I don't want to do this, you know, so I'm not going to.
Yeah.
And of course, all these years later, you know, now they're warning about 23andMe. We've been doing that here in the alternative media for some time. So we're not always wrong. We get some things right here.
That's the funny thing. I mean, I've talked to so many people that were totally against 9/11 back when it first started. And I've had all these conversations right when it was happening. And my stance hasn't really ever changed much since those early days. And it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, you would want to evolve some of your views, and most of mine have been further cemented, I would have to say. Even at an early age, it's a little creepy. But no, my views have definitely not changed much at all. After all these years sitting back and sort of having all these conversations with different individuals, especially those that were so opposed to any belief that our own government would have anything remotely close of doing anything that was nefarious. I mean, it's pretty ridiculous. I mean, these people should know their history a lot better, where our country's been doing these sort of things since the beginning.
Yeah.
But now, fast forward to 2022, almost 2023, which is insane. Most of these individuals, they've sort of evolved like a Pokemon almost, and now they're with the game now. They understand. They could see the delusions happening, the sort of political masquerade per se, and they're seeing right through it now. And now they coming to grips with the fact that yes, our country for sure, our own government in this country rather, they've been doing this sort of thing since the beginning.
Right, man.
It's wild.
Now, you know, the concern is while a lot of people have like you correctly mentioned, are coming around or evolving like Pokemon
slowly.
Right. I am afraid of what caused the evolution. Right. Where is that evolution coming from, and why? Why did it happen? And while people would look at it as a positive thing overall, I don't necessarily look at it that way.
You don't see it as a positive thing that more people are starting to come around to things, even though it's presented in such a negative way where it came from. I think we both kind of know where this is going, especially with what we were going through with the last president here.
Right.
Yes.
So many people were brought in under those pretenses.
No, I know. I hear you. Don't get me wrong. I understand fully.
What's up? I'm sorry, Mike.
No, I'm saying I understand fully where you're going with it, and I agree with you for the most part.
Right. Like and there are. I don't want to say that there aren't positives to it.
There are.
There absolutely are, and I'm very happy that so many people have come around and they're like, you know what? Maybe I don't want to get this vaccine for whatever reason. Not necessarily hating on those that do, just saying, you know, I'd like my freedom to be able to choose. Or damn, 9/11 might have been an inside job. Let me take a look at this. You know, it was just having your eyes open and considering all possibilities here rather than shutting them out without doing any of your own research, right? But there are people that came in. It's like planting a seed that's genetically modified rather than planting a seed that comes from nature.
Yeah.
And is natural. The genetically modified one is not going to be the same, and it has potential to harm just because of the way it was developed. The natural one will, of course, be natural and it comes from a different place, and all of that. If I'm just trying to make an analogy to
it's
get people to see what I'm trying to say.
It really is. I mean, you do have some positive and of course
right.
Without the negative, there can be and vice versa.
Right.
You know how that goes. But yeah, is it problematic? Of course it is. Yeah. No doubt. I mean, it took it took this sort of weird dance to get people to sort of open up to all these things, and to sort of fully think about it and do their own sort of research and see who and what owns what, and then you can go from there. And it took a lot of weirdness to happen in a form of a president of all things. I mean, at first, not everybody gave a shit about the president. No one really cared.
Right.
And now it's like, we had Donald Trump on as the president, which is pretty insane to me still.
You had him on the show?
No. I mean, we've had him here like as the president.
I know what you say.
But that'd be pretty funny if we did have him on the show.
That'd be dope. I saw you getting that. I was like, look at my boy Michael Decon getting after somebody on Twitter, saying, "Yo, dude, you had Matt Gaetz on and you never asked him about shit."
You mean Joe Pags?
Yeah, whomever that is. I don't know who the hell that is, but you got at him pretty good. I was like, yes, that's what I like. Yeah, and if you had Donald Trump on, I know you would grill him. So. Well,
I mean, I wasn't really going after him, to be honest.
I think it was necessary, Mike, what you did there.
So. Well, I mean, I didn't go after him. I just, I'm sure it could be perceived that way, but I was just trying to get his attention to see where he did wrong. But I think in his spot, he's actually a nationally syndicated conservative radio host, by the way.
Right.
Joe Pags. He's not so bad. He's from Long Island. That's the only fault there. No, I'm joking, by the way. Those of you out there in the East Coast, we do have lots of East Coast fans, so I always talk all kinds of nonsense about our friends out there.
I think there's a responsibility, right?
Well, that's the thing. That's the thing. He brought on, for those that don't know, he brought on Matt Gaetz maybe a week ago or so now. And I'm listening there to him talking, and Matt Gaetz brings up sex trafficking. And, anyone else would sort of go along and maybe bring up the fact that he's facing allegations for sex trafficking. And our boy Joe Pags just sort of sat there and didn't ask. I thought, he must have told him beforehand, don't ask me about the allegations, perhaps.
Or Joe Pags is sympathetic to the cause.
Or maybe he is. Maybe he's thinking, well, he didn't do anything wrong.
Right. It's Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz didn't do anything wrong.
He didn't do anything. He's innocent. Yeah, he's a patriot. He didn't do nothing wrong.
Exactly. So they don't press him. They don't. And it's not even. You don't even have to press. You just have to ask the question. And I think journalism is dead here in the United States.
Very much dead.
It's all about all of this. And the alternative media is like that. But I don't. At least I try not to make any bones about it. It's my opinion. I'm giving you my opinion, when I am doing something, but if you log in, if you tune into CNN or Fox News or any of these mainstream outlets, they present this stuff as if it's fact.
Sure.
But in reality, it's opinion based, report. I don't even know if I call it reporting. This is like cheerleading. So if you have a Matt Gaetz on, Matt Gaetz is not going to go on somewhere where he's not, where they're not sympathetic to his cause.
No, of course not. No,
he's just not at all. So this guy, Joey Pags or whatever, he's like, yo, come on. We love you, Matt.
Yeah,
Gaetz.
We love you.
Right. And then they'll, gush over him, and blow smoke up his ass for an hour or two. And that's another thing. End of it. They're not trying to find out anything.
Yeah, that's another thing. I'm just thinking, he's probably concerned that if he does ask that question, he'll probably never come back on the air again.
Absolutely.
He's scared.
Absolutely. Yeah. And that's the problem when you make your living doing what you do sometimes, unless you really don't give a shit. Right. And it's like whatever happens, happens. But most people are afraid of what the consequences are going to be.
Yeah.
For what you ask, or what you say, and how you say it, depending on who's listening. You know, when there's a monetary attachment to it, or when there's a popularity attachment,
yeah.
Right? When you want to be a celebrity, or you want to be like super well known or something. You don't want to say certain things because you don't want to piss some people off. And
it's all about how you say it too. When you're asking things,
Yeah.
It's always about how you present the question. If he presented it in such a good manner, I think he could have gotten away with it, but I don't think Joe Pags is much of a risk taker as he would try to
Right.
present himself as. He kind of tries to present himself as like this real, like alpha sort of male in a way.
Yeah.
But he's
that's
not.
the new thing.
He's not an alpha. Trust me. I've heard plenty of them. He ain't no alpha.
Right. I mean,
he ain't no alpha.
I mean, the concept of the alpha male, right, has been
bastardized.
What's that?
Bastardized.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. In particular in conservative circles, who's an alpha male now? And everybody wants to project because Donald Trump is considered an alpha male. By them, he is not. That is not the definition of an alpha male. But if you want to think that is, then there's several people that subscribe to that. There's a guy that goes on Alex Jones, and Alex Jones is another one that considers himself an alpha male. And there's a dude that goes on all the time, I think every Tuesday, to host.
Oh, you
very
mean
pro MAGA? What's up, buddy?
You mean Owen Schroyer?
Not Owen. I happen to. I don't agree with Owen Schroyer on a lot of things, but I happen to know somebody that knows Owen and says nothing but good things about Owen Schroyer.
Probably a nice
guy. I think if Owen Schroyer and I ever got on a broadcast, we'd have a spirited talk. But I heard he's a very good guy.
He seems like a nice guy.
What's up?
I was just saying, he seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, I heard he's a really good dude, man. Like a really, really good dude.
Oh, a really good dude.
Right. So.
I see.
What's that, buddy?
Oh, I was saying. Oh, I understand now.
He said, "This is what I've been told by a close friend, so I have no reason to doubt him." But this alpha male persona is out there, and they're like, yeah, because they want to be tough, and this is the way we are as alpha males. Like even in corporate America, it's like the alpha male is the guy that's leading everything, right? But these people typically hide behind their titles or hide behind whatever legal loopholes they can look for in order to project their alpha male appearance. But once you're not in that role, you're gonna get punched in the face. Right?
That's true. It's all a facade.
Right. Like a lot of it is like, the guys that we consider alpha males nowadays, or that project that energy, aren't that at all. They're just dying to project that energy. I think a real alpha male is not going out telling people I'm an alpha male.
That's true.
Or I am so great. Look at me. Look at me. I am so smart. Look how smart I am. Look how much money I got. Look how many women I have. That reeks of insecurity to me. What are you so insecure about, bro? But that's what an alpha male is nowadays. Everything has been turned upside down. Everything. What's right is wrong, and what's wrong is right. So the same thing can be applied as for the alpha male.
Do you think a man who pays for sex is a beta male? Because that's what Matt Gaetz is sort of. He's sort of facing those sort of allegations of sex trafficking and paying these women. So he's definitely. This is probably not his first time, in my opinion. I don't know if that's a fact, but it seems like he might have done this a time or two. So maybe he has, in the past, paid for sex. Do you think he's a beta male because, he's paid?
Well, it depends on the definition, right? We've all paid for sex in some way, shape, or form.
Well, I mean, not in the way where it's more direct. I mean, not in the way where you're.
So you mean actually? All right, because I was gonna just cover this so people won't, hit me back and say, well, when you take a woman out on a date, you're still
exactly.
Paying for sex.
You're paying for. That's not what I meant. I meant more of the direct way, not the indirect way. Correct.
I mean, I've never had to pay for sex, thank the Lord. It's not. I've never had to go to a prostitute.
But you had friends though who have.
Probably.
I mean, I'm guilty. I have friends who have. Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Probably. That's a really tough question to answer.
It's a very weird question, and I just wanted your opinion because I do have friends who have. In many years ago, they're like, would you be down to, bang like a prostitute? And they show me these websites and I'm like, whoa, you've invested a lot of time in this. I don't even think about these sort of things. I'm not like a big sex guy.
Story, bro. When I was 14 or 15, I don't remember. I spent 3 months in Honduras, right? My mom is from Honduras. My dad is Puerto Rican. And I went down to Honduras. And I have cousins over there, totally different world, bro, over there, man. Like,
I bet.
I was like, what the hell is going on here? From somebody that's lived in the city all his life, right? And then take me down to Honduras, totally different world. And they're like, yo, we're going to make a man out of you. We're going to make a man out of you today. And I was their freaking science experiment for 3 months, bro. They did whatever they wanted with me. They threw me off a cliff into a river so I could learn how to swim. No lie.
Wow, that is cruel.
Anyway, that was
you almost
crazy.
Died.
I could have died.
You could have died, yeah.
I swam.
Thank God you swam, yeah.
Thank the Lord. And I'm not a strong swimmer to this day, but literally they told me go to the edge, look down. Oop, threw me. That was it.
Wow.
That was it. I mean, I'm sure they would have come in after me if I was dying. But anyway, that's not the story I was going to tell you. They're like, we're going to make a man out of you. And they went and bought a condom, right? And they took me to the whorehouse.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And they said, dude.
Yikes.
You pick whichever you want,
They were really trying to make you a man then.
Oh, yeah, man.
Wow.
They're like, pick whichever you want. I'll never forget it.
We'll pay.
What's up, buddy?
They're like, we'll pay. It sounds like you're at Jeffrey Epstein's house, or his island, rather.
I mean, no. They were all women.
They were all legal, yeah.
Yes. but I wasn't, or at least not in the United States. But I walk in there, bro, and it reeked of piss.
Ooh.
The entire place. And I turned to my cousin, and I'm like, yo, dude, man, it smells like piss in here, bro. And he's like, yeah, but it doesn't smell like that in the rooms. I'm like, but why does it smell like piss here?
Yeah.
I'm like, why does it? This is not a good deal.
That's not good. No. You don't want to walk into any place where it smells like urine.
Right, man. And then he's like, dude, but we bought a condom already. I'm like, I didn't ask you to do this. That's the one time I pushed back on this, And they were like, fine. They were like, you're not going to pick anybody? I'm like, no, I'm not. Not to mention that I didn't think anybody was very attractive. But I was like, I'm not picking anybody. So I walked out, and they stayed and did their thing. And that was the end of it. but they took me to a whorehouse, and my cousin, I don't know. It was my cousin and a friend, and I don't know if I would consider any of them alpha males, but they're not suckers for sure. You know what I mean? Like, so it's just a tough question.
It's a little weird.
Because I know that they paid for sex, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't know if that would disqualify them as being an alpha male or not. I just don't freaking know. I don't know, Mike. I don't know. You stumped me.
I don't know either. I don't know what the proper answer would be. I don't know.
I mean, neither.
I guess it just depends on how your perspective is.
Give me a perspective.
Well, I mean, most men, not most men, but men would say, if you're paying for this, you're paying for that, that's kind of beta, they would say.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess, I guess maybe. I don't know. I consider, first of all, I don't go around typing dudes if they're beta or not.
Well, what do you think of Vince McMahon now? I mean, same thing. He paid for sex, according to these allegations. Right. And, women coming out and, this quote unquote hush money that's passed around. What do you make of Vince McMahon?
Well, Vince McMahon was always somebody that portrayed himself as the ultimate.
The genetic jackhammer.
The genetic jackhammer. Like, what is it? The grapefruit. He always painted himself as the ultimate alpha man.
This is true.
Like a big tough guy.
Yeah.
Who didn't care. He did. I remember Bret Hart punched him in the face once, but he sat there and took it. After the Montreal screw job, that's when Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart was leaving to WCW, and he didn't want to drop the belt, the WWF title. So Vince McMahon pulled a quick one and had Shawn Michaels win by submission. And they went to the locker room, and Bret Hart told him, "Listen, I'm going to take a shower. If you're not gone by the time I get out, I'm punching you in the face." And that's exactly what happened, and he knocked Vince out cold.
Right.
But Vince was always, like a really tough, big guy that did what he wanted, But I don't know. I don't consider Vince to be an alpha male, even though a lot of people would look at him that way. Him and Donald Trump have a lot in common, and they're friends.
Well, they're good buddies, yeah.
Right, and they have a lot in common. Now look at Vince. I think he paid. It was a paralegal, and she started out getting $100,000 a year.
That is crazy.
Like, I don't know what paralegal makes that ever. Like $100,000 a year for a paralegal, and then her second year, she was bumped up to $200,000. Now, I don't know if her position changed within the company or she was still a paralegal. She was having consensual sex with Vince McMahon. Now, something has to be seriously wrong with you to have consensual sex with Vince McMahon, right? So something has to be off. And she was a young lady, and I heard she's gorgeous. I haven't seen her, but I've seen pictures of somebody that's alleged to be her. I don't know if it is or isn't, but if it is, she's a beautiful, beautiful woman. And it turns out that when she left, he passed her around also to John Laurinaitis, who's another executive in the WWE. So they both had sex with her.
Isn't that very common that people in high positions of businesses, they do this sort of practice? It's kind of common.
I from reports that I've heard, yeah. I've never been in that position.
Yeah, personally,
from reports that I've heard, yeah.
Obviously,
what's up, buddy?
I said, obviously, I've never been in that sort of role, but that's what I hear, that these sort of people do that all the time.
Right. I was a corporate tycoon in my past life, Mike.
I know you were there at one time.
But yeah, and he went ahead and did this shit. Vince McMahon is a piece of crap. I wouldn't consider an alpha male to be a piece of crap, right? An alpha male is somebody that protects their family. Right, and provides for their family.
Sure.
Right, and if somebody threatens that family, that guy's gonna stand up and do something about it. My wife tells me, because I don't consider myself an alpha male to that manner, because I'm not constantly trying to assert my authority.
Well, you're already married, so you're not an alpha male, according to some men out there.
That's done, right?
They're like, no, it's over.
But my wife tells me that I'm not an alpha male, but I have alpha male tendencies.
Your wife says that to you?
Yeah, well, I've asked her. If
my wife if my wife or girlfriend never said that to me, I would knee her in the stomach and give her a DDT.
Let me show you what this is all about.
Oh, you want to see an alpha? I mean, I would fucking headbutt. I mean, I wouldn't do that. I'm joking, of course.
Well, I know what you mean. She's looking at it from a different definition, not necessarily the definition that I gave you.
I hear you.
As of what an alpha male is. It's so the perception of what an alpha male is has been so twisted.
It has, yes.
Right, that most people don't really know what it is. So I'm giving you that definition, but she doesn't look at it that way.
She doesn't see it that way.
Right. She's completely different. She's like, you're not overly, you're not trying to show off. You're not trying to do this. You're not trying to do that. You know what I mean? And I don't always want to be the leader, right? I just fall back. I'll do it if I have to. But my wife has been with me for a very long time.
So you married her very early in life. You were young. Yeah. Okay, I hear you. You were kids.
We were children.
Okay.
And she's seen me, in situations where somebody's threatening me.
Oh, okay.
And so she's like, you're not gonna let anybody like push you around, and that is a thing, with me, and I try to, control that because it could get you into a lot of trouble. So I want to I try to just walk away from confrontation a lot of times, but especially in my early years, that wasn't a thing. Like you tried to do something, I would just meet your energy. And sometimes I still do that, but I feel really bad about it when I do. I'm like, I'm a grown ass man, and what am I doing?
So you have these tendencies at times.
Sometimes.
Once in a while.
If somebody bumps into me on the subway and said, like the other day, and I felt so bad about this. The other day, I'm walking down the street, and some jackass is riding his power scooter on the sidewalk.
Oh, those are so goddamn annoying, by the way.
Right.
I hate those things.
What the fuck? Like, ride it on the street, dude. Like,
yes.
Anyway, so I'm walking and I have my headphones on, as I typically do, right? But I'm on a sidewalk, and this guy's telling me to move, right? And of course I don't hear him because I have my headphones on. And he passes by me as close as he can possibly get without hitting me. Right.
Yeah.
And then he turns around while he's riding. He turns his head and he's like, "Fuck you! What are you doing?"
Ooh.
Right. So I just should have ignored him and
let
kept
it go.
walking.
Yeah.
Right. But I take off my headphones.
Oh no.
And I'm like, "Yo, come back here."
Oh shit.
Yo, come back here. And he just kept riding. So I sped it up a little bit. I'm like, "Yo, come back here." I'm like, say that shit in front of my face.
Ooh.
Right. And he just sped off. Right. But then I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, and I stopped. He turned around again and said more shit. But he was very far away at that point. And I just let it go the second time around.
Probably because for the best.
Stupid. It's dumb. And I realize that it's dumb. But sometimes we do dumb things. Does that make sense?
That makes plenty of sense.
Right. So I was just like, you know what, let me just let this go. And not like I'm going to catch him anyway. He's on the scooter, I'm on my feet, and I'm not very fast. So I'm like, all right, whatever, it is what it is. Let me just keep walking. And then I started thinking about what made me act the way I act. And of course, I was provoked. I typically don't do stuff like that, but still, I should be able to walk away from situations like that without being aggressive. So, I should be able to walk away from situations like that.
Yeah. And
typically I do. But sometimes it comes out of me, and I think it has to do with where I grew up and how the circumstances around my aging, as I aged, the things that happened, you have to have a backbone. Well, not so much anymore. Things have gotten very soft here in New York, in the Bronx, as opposed to how it used to be in the 80s and the 90s. But you had to have a backbone. Otherwise, people were going to step all over.
Yeah.
And I learned that the hard way because I was a really nice kid, but it got to a point where I couldn't be anymore. I had to show, that if you screwed with me, I was gonna mess with you back. I wasn't going to just let it happen. I had to show that, because otherwise it was a wrap. They would eat you alive out here. So I think it has to do something with that. Just thinking about it and why I still sometimes snap when things like that happen.
You just have to be careful though nowadays. I am very careful now when I get into confrontations, and I got into one not very long ago.
Right.
But a part of you has to sort of, well, I'm not saying you, but everyone out there, you have to realize nowadays, people will pull out a gun or a knife nowadays.
Yeah, no, you're right. One time out here, I was held at gunpoint.
Oh, were you now? Oh, shit.
I remember me and my friend, we're kids again, 15, 16 years old, probably 17. And we were held at gunpoint. And I thought I was going to die. As soon as the guy put the gun away, we turned the corner and ran like no tomorrow. Like I said, I'm pretty slow.
What were you guys doing?
But nothing. It was a beef that my friend had.
Oh boy.
I had nothing to do with it. But
guilty by association.
Yeah, at that moment I got caught up, right? Because it was what it was at that point. And we were just walking in the street and they found him, rolled up to him, and I was there, so I was gonna get it too.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, it happened a lot. I mean, it didn't happen a lot that I got held at gunpoint. That was that one time.
Yeah.
But cops, and I think I mentioned this last time I was here, or at least at some point. I've been on your show several times now. Cops used to pull me over and pat me down randomly, because of that. I mean, it wasn't. I loved my childhood, and I loved the experiences that I had. They made me into the person that I am, but not everything was great. Not everything was awesome. I'm thankful for all my experiences, and I hope I can learn from them and make me into a better person. That's why I get upset sometimes when I react to stuff like this. But I think that's what my background is, what leads me to snap sometimes on this. And I don't do it half as often, but sometimes I still do. I would like to eliminate it altogether.
Oh shit! So you get a little crazy sometimes out there.
I wouldn't say crazy.
You're out there in the subway fighting people.
I don't know. I'm not fighting. Thank the Lord, man. But it had happened before, but it's not something that happens often.
Well, people snap though, it's natural, especially being in an unnatural sort of scenario as you would find yourself in New York, or anywhere in a big city. It's not natural for us to be sort of jammed in together like that.
Yeah, man, you're right. And the subways are the worst. Everybody's packed in like sardines. I mean, it's not like those subways in Japan. Like I see.
Oh, those are awful.
Right, those are freaking crazy. Like Yikes. I see video of people getting like literally pushed inside.
They pushed around. Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? I'll take the next one. Okay, you don't have to push me in here. Please don't touch me. I'll just take the next train.
I have a thing against people being so close to me as it is. So I mean, I would probably react. Yeah, I would not react good.
Yeah, like typically I'm okay. It's just I'm very critical of myself when it comes to stuff like that, so I'll dwell on things like that, but in reality it doesn't happen half as often.
That's why I always like the whole social distancing thing. Some people like it, some people just hate it.
Really dug it. You're right.
I'm into it. No, I do like it. I'm one of those people. I mean, I've been doing jiu-jitsu for more than half my life. And
that's dope.
Anytime anyone's behind me or so close to me, I just instinctually I feel like, throwing them and shit.
Remind me not to sneak up on you.
It's natural for me to just want to do something to you. So that's why I'm like, I don't think I'm very good around a lot of people naturally. Yeah.
I'm trying to take kung fu classes.
You're going really 80s now.
Well, I believe that I want to take kung fu classes, not necessarily for self-defense.
Why kung fu? Is it because you're just sort of you're drawn to the sort of philosophy of kung fu?
Right.
Is that what it is?
Right. Yeah. And typically it comes packaged with qigong, so I'd like to do that too. And Brazilian jiu-jitsu I can find out here, but I would rather do kung fu. Right, just because of that, right? Because of the philosophies and I want to get more spiritual with it than anything else. I don't necessarily want not that I don't want it. I'll take it. What is it? The defense part of it, but I really want
But you want something else.
The mind, body, and soul thing. That's what I would like.
Yeah, you sound like Bruce Lee now.
Oh, I mean, Bruce Lee's dope. Be water.
Is that where this is coming from?
I love Bruce Lee.
That's what it is.
Like, what a human being, right? And I love Be Water because it makes perfect sense, right? I'd love to be like water and just be able to take the shape of whatever situation I'm in.
That's right.
And be able to. And I'd like to think that I do that more often than not, but I don't do it all the time. Sometimes I'm ice.
I hear you. In life, you have to roll with the punches.
Right. I'd like to be water.
You would like to be water. And someone who would like to be water right now is Alex Jones, by the way. That whole sort of court case he has going on with the lawyer, accidentally giving all those files.
You think that was accidental?
Well, he emailed him, from what I understand, he emailed the wrong Dropbox where they were sharing a folder, from what I understand. And
what the fuck? Like, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. I don't know what he was thinking either.
You know, I'd have fucking lost it, Mike.
Oh, like, trust me.
What are you doing? Like,
I would have gone to jail that day. If I'm on the stand and someone, a lawyer, telling me that my own lawyer sent him files, I would probably grab something and throw it on the ground. Or, I don't know, I would not react in any way that Alex Jones reacted, which is pretty calm. Not me. I would go insane.
Yeah.
I would lose my fucking mind. I would probably go after my lawyer. Physically. Right. Yeah. I mean, that's true.
I'm like, at this point, go get yourself Giuliani and Lynn Wood and Sidney Powell to represent you. You're going to do something like that?
Yeah, I'll be doing some time if that happened to me.
My God. No, I mean...
I get hit with a couple charges.
You know what? I am no longer a fan of Alex Jones, but I was for a very, very long time.
What happened? What happened? You're not a fan anymore. I mean, I have my gripes with him. Lots of things I've learned from people that know him personally. You know, I've learned more than I should know. And I don't really out him here on this program or anything. You know, I don't want another lawsuit on my hands. But the thing is, I don't hate the guy. You know, he's done well. You know, he's open minds, and that's always a good thing. But as we were talking about earlier on in this conversation, there's good and bad with all these, with opening minds, of course.
Right. And I've, like I said, I've been a fan. I discovered him 2004, 2005. I think more like 2005. I'm not sure. And I listened every day.
Yeah.
Until about 2015.
You checked out around there.
That's when I started. I still listen, but I listen for different reasons.
Okay.
Not for the same reasons I used to listen before. And I don't listen every day, of course. But that's when I started to check out, when he started to openly back a Donald Trump. And I'm like, I learned about the left-right paradigm through this guy. And I'm like, now you're subscribing to it. Now you are openly demonizing the Democrats and holding up, the right. You know, the right is not the New World Order. They are the white hats that are fighting.
Well, I'm sure it was a good business practice.
It must have
to
been,
align himself.
But I remember Alex Jones talking about Sandy Hook. I remember when it happened, you know, and I remember him broadcasting about it. And I don't think he ever said that the children didn't exist, but he did say it was a false flag. You know, he did say all of that. And there are a lot of elements to the story that we were told that should be questioned. Now, as much as I don't like Alex Jones, I don't think he did anything wrong here. Just because he has a right to be able to speculate about these things. You know, I mean, and if he did do something wrong, and like if this is the new normal now, that you can't talk about things like this, if you get something wrong, you're going to jail or you're going to get sued. Then when do we start suing CNN?
I know, right? That's another thing.
That's totally wrong for peddling crazy conspiracy theories, like they would like to say.
Yeah,
because they do that on their channel
all the time. A lot of people do that all the time.
Right. Fox News. When do we get at them for peddling crazy conspiracy theories? Because they have. They're
guilty of that too.
Right. All of them are. So if Alex is guilty, all of these people are guilty. So I don't see it. I don't understand. Well, I do understand they're trying to end him. But now they're taking these text messages that conveniently fell into the lap of the opposing side's attorney and giving them to the January 6th committee, or at least the January 6th committee has requested these text messages. And they're trying to say that Alex Jones planned an insurrection on the Capitol. And I don't think he did that either. You know? I don't think he planned an insurrection on the Capitol. Alex Jones is responsible for creating an environment that led to what happened on January 6th. You know, he's responsible for having people come out to January 6th, but for a different reason, not necessarily storming the Capitol. You know, he always talked about, let's keep it peaceful. He's always said that since I've been following Alex. So this is really a really screwed up situation for Alex Jones.
It's a really bad.
Right. I don't know if InfoWars survives this.
He's being sued for
nail him down. What's up, buddy?
He's being sued for millions of dollars.
He said openly, he's like, anything more than 2 million, InfoWars is gone. He said this on the stand.
Well, if he wasn't bankrupt before, he will be now. Or
right.
soon.
I mean, I think he is bankrupt. People are going around saying, "Oh, he's not. He's shoveling money around." I don't think so. This doesn't look good. He's gonna have to. I don't know where he pays this money. I don't know how he gets it to give to the Sandy Hook parent.
I don't know what he's gonna do.
Right, and then if Liz Cheney gets a hold of him, I hope he didn't do nothing stupid. Like, why are these text messages even in existence? How come he has text messages from 2019?
They subpoenaed his texts and emails now after the lawyer accidentally handed the plaintiffs a copy of Alex Jones's text messages in the Sandy Hook libel case.
Ugh.
So this is not good, by the way.
No.
Not at all. A digital copy of his emails and phone texts have been submitted, from what I understand now. So whatever he did or didn't do, according to a judge, it's not going to look pretty, in my opinion. Whatever.
And
happens.
now the thing is, they can open, and I'm not saying they're going to do this, but they can openly frame Alex Jones, and people would believe it.
That too.
People would believe it. You should see the coverage, the way they're covering this on CNN.
They're going crazy on him, right?
Right. No, not only on him, but people like the alternative media, people that subscribe or that will give an ear to conspiracy theories. People like you and I.
Yeah, we're going to be next.
Yeah, saying that Don Lemon said it openly. He's like, well, now I hope all these other conspiracy theorists take note and see what's happening here, and maybe the same thing happens to them so they can learn their lesson.
Well, yeah. Well, he's one to talk,
right?
But this is a big blow to freedom of speech. If Alex has to do all these sort of things and go through these sort of motions, it's a big blow to freedom of speech, in my opinion. And
you're right.
I don't think he did anything exactly wrong.
Right.
I mean, he just stated his opinion and sort of went back and forth with this thing for years.
Yeah. Yeah. And then they're saying the Sandy Hook parent, one of them that was scolding Alex, a middle-aged lady, God bless her, she lost her kid. She was scolding Alex really hard, and she was like, and you're going to go back on your show, and you're going to continue to peddle the bullshit. And Alex Jones hasn't done that, because I've listened. He's gone completely back on it. He hasn't said that Sandy Hook didn't exist. I mean, that what happened over there was that these kids didn't die. He hadn't said any of that. He went back on all of this very recently. But they're painting it as if he's still going and saying it, and people are going to believe it. People are not going to listen to Alex Jones. They're going to believe CNN, whomever's listening to CNN, or they're going to believe the news outlets and whatever they put out. They're just going to believe it.
Yeah, they'll blindly follow.
Right, and it's a really tough situation to see him in, and I like I said, I have my issues with him because of the promoting of a Donald Trump and the giving a platform to somebody like Michael Flynn. Going back to the Matt Gaetz example that we talked about earlier, you have Michael Flynn on, you press him, you press his ass. What did you do for Cambridge Analytica? Why were you running mind operations on the people of planet Earth? Why were you taking the oath on the internet, on YouTube with your entire family? Promoting QAnon. Why did you do that? None of that happens, and so I'm like, okay, Alex, what the hell, Steve Puchinik goes on InfoWars and spreads complete bullshit, and nothing, no pushback on anything. He was like, Trump has this all set up. It's a sting, and he's gonna catch everybody that was instrumental in stealing the election. We have cameras all over the place. It's a setup. Trump is on top of it. That never happened. It's just bullshit, and Alex gave all of these people platforms and never pushed back. So I'm like, all right, but I don't think he should be sued over it. I don't think that.
Well, I think he received money though, ultimately, which is why he never really pushed back on any of these things. I think he gladly accepted money to promote Trump and the brand.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think something happened.
Something definitely did happen.
It's a very different Alex Jones from the one that I was used to.
Well, I'm sure he needed some money, as they usually do.
Yeah, or he was going through a divorce.
That too.
And they wanted to take away his children. I don't know what happened, but he shifted.
Something happened. I have to. We can only speculate for sure, but the way things are playing out, I'm pretty sure he might have taken money from this party at one time or another.
Mm-hmm. No, I don't disagree with you. But either way, it's what's going on with Alex Jones right now is bad for all of us.
That's true. Ultimately, it's not good for all of us out here.
So we need to, no matter how we feel about Alex, what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong, and what's being done to Alex Jones right now is very wrong.
Very wrong. And you weren't paid, by the way, to say that. So
no, man, I'm sitting here in my kitchen.
Yes.
if anybody wants to pay me,
he'll gladly accept.
Right.
And do as he's told.
Sorry.
It's all right.
No. I get, and I'm sure you do too. The accusations that you're CIA or you're a Freemason.
Oh, I hear that all the time. That I work for the FBI, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's like, exactly. Trust me, if I did, I wouldn't be in this location right now. I would probably be in Virginia.
Right. Like if I was working for the FBI, man, I'm so underpaid right now.
We're very underpaid.
Right. I'm sitting here in my kitchen with a fan on that I had to turn off because it's gonna make too much noise on the microphone. So I'm sweating right now.
Yeah.
I could be better, but yeah, this is the thing. I'm not paid. It's just right and right is right no matter what. I'm not a fan of Alex Jones anymore, which hurts because he did turn down a lot of people, including myself. I think I'm here because of Alex Jones. I think it was in 2006 because I've been doing 9/11 activism since 2005. Right, every 9/11, I go out and try to plant seeds in people and let them know what could have gone down on 9/11. Right. And I think it was in 2006 that it was either 2006 or 2007. I'm not sure. I'm rolling up to the World Trade Center, what was left of it. And Alex Jones is coming out of the subway. Right. And I'm like, oh shit, it's Alex Jones, man. And this is at the height of my Alex Jones fandom.
Oh, wow.
Right. And I'm like, yo, Alex. And he's like, hey, how you doing? It's Alex Jones. And he extends his hand. Big motherfucker. Big, thick son of a bitch, man. And he extends his hand, super strong grip. Like, how you doing? I'm Alex Jones. And I'm like, yo, Alex, man, let me work for you, bro. I'm like, I want to help. Let me work for you. He's like, no, man, you got to do it yourself. You do it yourself. And then he goes, come on, let's go fight the New World Order. Come on. Let's do it together. And he takes off. And he literally told me that's verbatim what happened. And I was like, yeah, I guess I got to do this myself. I didn't do this myself on a radio capacity for many years later. But it was through Alex, that I found out that 9/11, the official story of 9/11 is not.
That's crazy.
Accurate.
I didn't know you were a product of one Alex Jones and you had some sort of influence from Alex. And now you kind of see him as, at one time you saw him in this different sort of light. And now you have sort of shifted in your opinion on one Alex Jones.
Right. And that comes with time and experience, I guess. Like you, I know people that know him directly. It's like 1 degree of separation. You hear things, but then you don't have to go by that. You could just go by what you're seeing and what he's saying and how he has shifted. If you've been following Alex Jones for that long, you know that there's something different.
Yeah, I like him personally.
You're willfully ignoring it.
I like the man. I think he's great, but he's facing some pretty wild things right now. So I hope the best for him.
Yeah, we need to, and I don't even know what to do, but we need to at least acknowledge that what's being done to him is criminal, man. Not cool. And I don't think even his own defense is behind him.
Probably not. No, I don't think that was an accident, by the way.
I don't either. I'm trying to wrap my head around how something like that would go down.
The lawyer isn't, he's not an elderly man, and there's nothing wrong with elderly people or anything, but I'm just saying it wasn't some sort of human error that happens. You sort of have to be more
meticulous, careful.
Yeah, you would imagine that you're all those things, and he used the wrong Dropbox is what they're saying basically.
Fuck out of here.
But I mean,
let me just hit okay real quick on this file transfer.
Oh God,
I'm on my way out. I'm gonna go have dinner. I mean, come on.
Yeah, you have to be more direct with it, to do something like that. It's not one of those things where you just, you double click something and you drag something over, and the Dropbox thing, you sort of kind of already know what you're doing,
Right.
You have to go through so many steps. It's not, you know what I'm saying? It's not one of those things you just click and that's it.
Right. So I'm like, what the hell? How the hell did this happen? And they just set up. They didn't even bother to tell Alex what they had done. I mean, I guess they didn't know either. I don't know. I mean, it's just a cluster.
It's real bad. It's awful. Yeah. And I think at one time they even found like child porn as well, if you recall.
I haven't heard that. Wow, I didn't know that.
Well, not in these text messages. It was a couple. I don't know. It was like a little bit before, maybe last year.
They found tranny porn.
They found something like that. And then, of course, there was that infamous screenshot of Alex Jones when he was doing a live broadcast, and the camera went over his phone, and you could see he was looking at a tranny porn on his cell phone. Yeah. That's kind of the same way that I view this sort of the lawyer giving the other lawyer a digital copy. It's kind of like if you're looking up tranny porn, it has to be something you're directly looking for, is what I'm trying to say here.
Agreed.
It's not one of those things that just happen after a double click. You have to be purposely going around the internet to look for that specifically. It's a specific fucking thing, just like a digital copy of an email and text. It's a very specific thing. So for a lawyer to get that wrong and share that with the opposing lawyer, it's no way was that an accident. No way was Alex Jones.
Get on your phone.
No way was Alex Jones just sort of browsing the internet and stumbled upon tranny porn. It's direct. So I mean, that was no accident either.
I was on Amazon. I was trying to buy a sweater, and all of a sudden, tranny porn.
I was looking up. I was trying to find the dinosaur, the Tyrannosaurus Rex, and all of a sudden, I got the wrong sort of tranny.
I got the wrong Tyrannosaurus Rex.
We got the very wrong one. Yes.
Don't know how that happened. I can't explain it.
I don't get it, man. This was a colossal error.
Right.
Oh my God.
No. It was a bad thing. And you know what? That lawyer.
How does that even happen?
Opposing Alex Jones. I can't stand his ass. I can't stand his face. Looking at him, it's just, I don't know if he's I'm looking at him right now.
He's a reptilian.
He might be.
He might be a reptilian.
He might be a freaking reptile, but he's standing there pointing and yelling and making accusations and talking some type of way. He's like, you lied to me. You want to know how I know you lied to me? Because I have all your text messages. Your lawyers screwed up and sent them to me.
The way he said it. Yeah. The way he said it.
Yo, like, you just want to get up and smack the guy.
He was doing it in such a way that made me think this was all rehearsed, and this was his moment to shine on camera.
Shit, I don't disagree with you, bro. Like, I mean,
that was some good acting.
Right. It's crazy. It's crazy, bro. I urge everybody, whomever's listening, to go take a look. It's not a good look. And then Alex is sitting there trying to figure out what to say. He's like trying to figure out his next move. He's walking on eggshells.
Ooh, what a bad that is bad, man. I would be at a lot of loss for words, my friend, if that happened to me. I'd be like, he did what? My lawyer did what?
Yeah, you're fired immediately. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'll get a whole new lawyer, law team. Get up out of here, like right now. I can't trust you. How can I trust you if you did something stupid like?
There's no coming back from that, my friend.
Right, nothing. Incredible. Anyway, God bless him.
Where did they find that guy? That's what I'm wondering.
You, the law offices of Giuliani, Powell, and Wood. That's where he found him.
Giuliani, the scumbag of America, in my opinion.
Oh, good Lord, what a piece of filth. I never liked the guy.
Well, I've hated him since I saw him, after September 11th.
Right. I hated him before that.
I know you hated him right before that.
Yeah, he was having me patted down, but people in New York didn't like him too much. I know he got elected twice, but people didn't like him.
He's not very likable.
I mean, to the point where he was America's mayor or the world's mayor. I forgot what title they bestowed upon him after 9/11.
Yeah, but that's all a facade as well. It's all bullshit. Right. He's not loved.
Oh, no. Not
loved by the media, but not loved by the actual people.
The only thing I love about Giuliani was when he was melting on camera not too long ago. That shit was dope. When black goo was rolling down the side of his face.
That was pretty good.
That was dope when he was doing the press conference.
It was even better.
Porn shop.
It was even better when he was being asked about, that guy, the employee at that store he was at, and he got patted on the back and, he acted, well, he didn't act, but, in an interview, he kind of sold it up. He was really selling it, saying that he got hit so hard, he almost fell forward.
Oh, yeah.
He just lied like so much. Yeah. And it made me think, why would anyone believe you about anything now?
No, I mean, nobody should ever believe a word he says, but hey, what are you going to do?
I've never believed that man.
There's still some people that do. What happened?
I said, I've never believed that man. I could always tell he was a ghoul like that John Kerry fella.
Agreed. John Kerry's another one.
Dude, I don't like these men.
One of the most non-charismatic men on the planet, John Kerry.
The ghoul.
Right. The ghoul.
He's as worse as
Count Chocula.
He's worse than Joe Biden, I would say.
Good Lord. Yeah, he is worse because he has less personality.
Yeah.
Joe Biden, even now, at Joe Biden's degraded state, he has some personality.
Well, a little bit, I would say. Just a tiny bit. But, I mean, the man is 150 years old.
Right. About 200. Right.
He is old as hell. I can't believe he's that old. I mean, I think he's older than what they're presenting him to be, in my opinion.
He certainly looks it.
Like all those Cuban athletes out there, they list them as being, they're like, oh, he's 15, and then in reality he's like 35.
That's Joe Biden. And they're talking about that he's going to run for a second term. He ain't running for no second term, man. Joe Biden is not running for no second term.
I don't think so.
Oh, he's not, bro.
No. That's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine. It's hard to imagine anyone coming to be the president now. It's like, why would he even want that gig? But then again, it's not really about who wants the gig. You're more or less pretty much placed there.
Yeah, I think whomever makes it, whomever is nominated from either party has already gotten the blessing of the people that are controlling things.
Yeah, and, it's already set up.
It's funny, the UN just came out and said they have a war on conspiracy theories. That there is no secret elite ruling the world, says the secret elite. Right?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. We believe them.
They're the ones that are saying, no, we don't exist. But if you get the nomination for the Democratic Party to be the president of the United States,
you're anointed.
What's up, buddy?
I said you're anointed those honors.
Right. And if you get the nomination to be the president of the United States from the Republican Party, you are already controlled opposition. You're already completely controlled. That's it. If you get to that level, it's not voting for the lesser of two evils. You're voting for the same thing. You're voting for the same thing. There is no difference once you get to that level. So to think that one is better than the other, or that one is what is it, a white hat, that's coming to save us all, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. And of course there are differences with certain volleyball issues, right? That they let us try to decide, like gun laws and abortion and all this other stuff. There are differences on that level, but ultimately they all carry out the same goal. The foreign policy doesn't change, and they're not out for the best interest of the people. So in my opinion, when they get to that level, just let it go. You vote for who you want, no matter who wins. We already won.
Ultimately, that's the way it goes. And Billy Ray, I do want to thank you for your time here. You know, we've spent a good amount of time here talking. I don't want to waste too much more of your time here.
You never waste my time, sir.
Well, I love that. But yes, Billy, it's always an honor and pleasure to have you here on the program. Please feel free to plug anything you'd like before, we close it up here.
Well, my name is Billy Ray Valentine. I do a show called The Infinite Fringe on Apple Podcast and on Podbean. You can go find me at theinfinitefringe.podbean.com or on Apple Podcasts, like I said. Also, America Unplugged. We do that every Saturday at 12 p.m. Eastern on Rockfin. But if you can't make it live, you can find it on AmericaUnplugged.com or AmericaUnplugged.podbean.com. You can subscribe to the podcast. Go listen. This week is going to be a barn burner, man. We're going to talk about Alex Jones. We're going to talk about this lady that got locked up for the WNBA.
Oh, you mean Brittany Griner?
Brittany Griner, 9 years they gave her, bro.
9 years. That is crazy.
We got to talk about that cluster, and of course the UN saying there's a war on conspiracy theories, and that's just what we got now. Let's see what happens by the time we get to Saturday. So we're going to talk about all of that, but go check the Fringe. We just put up an episode with Midnight Mike of the OBDM podcast talking about Skinwalker Ranch. It was fun. And before that, we did the QAnon Returns episode with Neil Sanders and John Brisson and George from cavdev.org. It was dope. We had a good time. So go listen, go subscribe. Thank you for having me, sir. Always a pleasure.
And there he goes, boys and girls. That was the one and only Mr. Billy Ray Valentine. And before we take it home here tonight, and I pull this Larry Silverstein style, I want to say thank you to all of you out there who have been subscribing to YouTube and the Patreon. For those that want bonus material, please go to patreon.com/Michael Decon, and that is where you'll find more bonus material. And of course, I have plenty coming your way for those that are on Patreon waiting for new episodes. Don't worry, they will be dropping very, very soon here. Once again, thank you so much for pressing play, ladies and gentlemen, and those of you in the chat room. I really appreciate you folks out there too. International listeners in the UK, Brazil, Canada, really appreciate you folks out there. Those of you in Germany, Guten Morgen, and of course, those of you right here in America, really appreciate you too. The mind continues to race. Stay safe, everyone, no matter where you are on this island Earth. I'm Michael Decon, and with that said, the world is a mysterious place, and life itself is a mystery. Until next time, good night.